The night in Indianapolis began with a sense of urgency. The Fever, still fighting to lock down their playoff spot, were back home at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, looking to rebound from a recent stumble. Across from them stood the Minnesota Lynx, one of the league's most consistent teams this season, but carrying the weight of a two-game skid. The crowd was loud, the stakes were clear, and for the first 12 minutes, Indiana looked ready to seize the moment. Welcome to Jintatski Sports, your spot for all things sports. From legendary moments and big-time plays to inspiring stories and deep dives, we bring you the content that keeps the game alive. If you love sports as much as we do, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. They came out sharp. Kelsey Mitchell wasted no time attacking, slicing into the lane for early buckets. Lexi Hull, confident and in rhythm, found her stroke from deep. The ball zipped from hand to hand, the offense humming as the Fever put up 27 points in the opening frame. Minnesota kept pace behind Kayla McBride's smooth shooting, but Indiana's energy carried them to a 27-22 lead after one. The second quarter brought a shift. Minnesota began running more of its offense through Jessica Shepard at the elbows, and the Fever's defense struggled to adjust. Shepard's vision was surgical, hitting cutters, finding shooters, and slipping into the paint herself. Natisha Heedman came off the bench firing, giving the Lynx a scoring jolt. Mitchell kept answering for Indiana, and Hull added timely jumpers, but the visitors edged the quarter 28-25. At halftime, the Fever still led 52-50, but the Lynx had found their rhythm. The third quarter was where the game turned. Shepard opened the period with a driving layup that gave Minnesota the lead for good. From there, she orchestrated everything, scoring inside, controlling the glass, and threading passes that carved up Indiana's help defense. McBride caught fire, hitting from beyond the arc and in transition. The Fever's offense, so fluid in the first half, suddenly stalled. Minnesota poured in 32 points in the quarter. Indiana managed just 17. The scoreboard told the story. A 12-point Lynx lead heading into the fourth. But Indiana wasn't done. The final quarter saw them claw back, possession by possession. Mitchell attacked relentlessly, Hull pulled up for mid-range scores, and Aaliyah Boston went to work inside. She Petty, making her Fever debut on a 7-day hardship contract, had already electrified the crowd earlier with 3 straight threes, and her steady presence kept the offense organized. With 4 minutes left, the Fever had trimmed the deficit to single digits. The building roared, sensing another comeback. Yet every time they threatened, McBride answered with a poised jumper or Shepard found a way to score. Indiana won the quarter 21-13, but the gap from that third quarter collapse was too much to erase. The horn sounded on a 95-90 Minnesota win. McBride finished with 29 points on 1-0 for 1-9 shooting, adding 5 assists. Shepard delivered one of the most efficient triple-doubles in league history. 22 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists on 1-0 for 1-1 shooting, completing the feat in just under 22 minutes. Heedman chipped in 17 off the bench. For Indiana, Mitchell's 27 points kept them in it. Hull's career-high 23 was a bright spot. Boston added 14 and 9, and Petty's 10 points in 16 minutes were an unexpected lift. From an analytical lens, Minnesota's victory was built on 2 things: McBride's shot-making and Shepard's all-around control of the game. Indiana's undoing was the third quarter, a stretch where their defensive rotations broke down, their offense stagnated, and the Lynx's passing big tore them apart. The Fever's first-half offense showed they can score with anyone, but their inability to adjust mid-game to a front-court facilitator of Shepard's caliber proved costly. For Indiana, the strengths were clear: explosive guard scoring from Mitchell and Hull, Boston's interior finishing, and the ability to generate late runs. The weaknesses were just as obvious: vulnerability to high IQ passing bigs, defensive breakdowns in the third quarter, and an offense that can go cold when Mitchell is forced into tougher looks. The opportunities lie in integrating Petty's shooting into second-unit sets, using Boston more as a high-post passer to diversify the attack, and tightening defensive schemes against front-court playmakers. The threats are over-reliance on Mitchell for creation, slow defensive adjustments, and the risk of fatigue in starters during high-tempo stretches. If you're in Indiana's war room, the film session starts with that third quarter. The Fever need a plan for passing bigs, front the post, deny elbow catches, and rotate earlier on cutters. Offensively, they can borrow from Minnesota's playbook by running more through Boston at the high post, hitting Hull and Mitchell on the move. Petty shooting should be a featured weapon in design sets to stretch defenses. Above all, they must protect leads coming out of halftime with sharper, scripted possessions. For Minnesota, the strengths were veteran poise and balance, McBride's scoring gravity, Shepard's historic triple-double, and Heedman's bench spark. Their weaknesses included a slow defensive start that gave Indiana early confidence, and occasional overdependence on McBride for perimeter scoring. Opportunities include continuing to run the offense through Shepard to exploit mismatches, staggering McBride's minutes to anchor both units, and sharpening defensive intensity from the opening tip. The threats are what happens if Shepard is neutralized, and whether the veteran core can sustain its level in back-to-backs. In Minnesota's camp, Shepard's performance becomes a blueprint. Keep her as the hub, mixing dribble handoffs with backdoor cuts to keep defenses guessing. Use McBride's scoring gravity to free others. Run her off staggered screens not just to shoot, but to collapse the defense for kickouts. Defensively, address the slow starts by applying ball pressure earlier and switching more decisively on Mitchell to wear her down over 4 quarters. In the end, it was a game that showcased the value of composure and execution. Minnesota's leaders delivered when it mattered most, steadying a team that had been wobbling. Indiana showed fight, flair, and flashes of brilliance, but also the fine margins that separate a stirring comeback from a frustrating near miss. For the Fever, it's a lesson in sustaining focus across all 4 quarters. For the Lynx, it's proof that when their stars are in sync, they can weather any storm and close the deal. Thanks for watching Jintatsky Sports. If that video hit home or gave you something to think about, drop a like and let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that bring the heart of sports to life. Until next time, stay inspired and keep chasing greatness.